You ever notice how human beings are just full of contradictions? We're walking, talking, overthinking piles of mixed signals. We say one thing, do another, believe something else entirely, and then argue about it on Sunday. We call ourselves advanced, but half the time, we can't even agree on how to drive in a straight line without turning it into a competition. We're the only species that claims to be civilized, yet we spend our lives trying to outsmart each other over stuff that doesn't even exist. We made up money, made up borders, made up laws, and now we spend every day stressing out over the imaginary things we made up. That's the comedy of being human. We invented our own cage, locked ourselves inside, and then complained about how small it is. We worship technology like it's going to save us, but all it really does is make us faster at doing the same dumb things we were already doing. We've got machines that talk to satellites in space, but we still can't figure out how to have a decent conversation with the person sitting next to us. We can text someone across the ocean in half a second, but we can't say a good morning to our neighbor without it feeling like a social experiment. We brag about progress. Oh, we love that word, a progress. We say, oh, look how far we've come. Yeah. We went from caves to cubicles, from hunting to commuting, from spears to smartphones, and somehow we're still miserable. Progress. We invented indoor plumbing, electric light, global communication, and what do people do with it? Watch cat videos and complain about traffic. That's progress. We say we want peace, but we spend billions preparing for war. We say we love nature, then pave it over to build another shopping mall with a store that sells pictures of nature. We talk about saving the planet while driving home in vehicles that burn the very thing we're trying to save. Reduce pollution, we say right before we order 3-day shipping for a toothbrush. We love the idea of change, as long as it doesn't inconvenience us. And the best part? We call ourselves logical. The same species that buys bottled water when perfectly good water falls from the sky for free. We pay extra for organic food, the kind of food that used to just be called a food. We have shoes that make us run faster, chairs that massage us, and refrigerators that talk to us. But somehow we can't make a single honest politician. Logic took a vacation a long time ago. We build entire systems on lies and then wonder why the truth sounds offensive. We say, honesty is the best policy, but then punish anyone who actually practices it. You tell someone the truth about how ridiculous their new haircut looks, and suddenly you're the problem. People don't want truth. They want comfort. They want sugar-coated nonsense that makes them feel better about being part of the nonsense. We teach kids to be themselves, but only if a being themselves fits into a neat little box labeled acceptable behavior. We say, well, follow your dreams, right before reminding them that dreams don't come with health insurance. We tell people they can be anything they want, as long as it pays taxes and doesn't question authority. That's the contradiction. We celebrate individuality while punishing it at every turn. We claim to love freedom, but we build a system that measures it in paperwork. Freedom with conditions, that's what we've got. You're free to say whatever you want, as long as nobody important disagrees. You're free to go anywhere you like, as long as you can afford the tickets, the taxes, and the fees. You're free to choose between options somebody else already picked for you. We call that a democracy. And that's not freedom. That's a choose-your-own adventure where all the endings are sponsored. We call it the system, like it's some kind of sacred natural force. Oh, that's the system. Yeah, the same system we built ourselves. We designed it, we maintain it, and we pretend it's inevitable. Like gravity or the weather. We treat it like it came down from a mountain on stone tablets. Thou shalt pay rent forever. We're so proud of our intelligence, but we can't seem to use it for anything sensible. We invented the atomic bomb. Congratulations, you can now end the world in under 10 minutes. Genius! Then we built hundreds of them and called it a security. That's like walking around with a grenade in your pocket and saying, I feel safe because everyone else has one too. We talk about safety all the time, but we're the most paranoid species alive. We lock our doors, install alarms, build walls, get insurance, buy cameras, and still lie awake at night worrying. The animals sleep fine. They don't have locks. You ever see a squirrel installing a security system? No, because they trust the tree. Humans can't even trust the guy who sells them insurance. And for good reason. We say we love humanity, but we don't trust people. We build taller fences, longer passwords, and louder opinions. We say we're all connected, yet somehow everyone's lonely. We created a social networks that made us more antisocial than ever. We call it communication, but it's really just broadcasting. Everyone's talking. Nobody's listening. We invented the digital megaphone and forgot how to whisper. We say your money isn't everything, but spend our entire lives chasing it. We say you can't take it with you, yet we work like we can. We build careers out of pretending to enjoy jobs we secretly despise, all to afford things we don't need, to impress people we barely tolerate. Then we wonder why everyone's stressed. We even have a thing called a retail therapy. That's when you buy something you can't afford to forget that your life doesn't make sense. We've turned hypocrisy into an Olympic sport. We love the environment, but we also love convenience. They save the trees, we say, while printing posters that say, save the trees. We buy eco-friendly plastic bags. Plastic! And feel like heroes because they're slightly less evil than the old ones. We drink organic coffee in disposable cups and drive our eco-cars to a fast food drive-thrus. We're not saving the world. We're just doing guilt management with a marketing budget. We say we believe in equality, but we live by hierarchy. Everyone wants to be the boss, but nobody wants to be equal. We talk about teamwork, then give everyone a different paycheck. We say, we're all in this together. But somehow some people are more together than others. We even created something called a status symbol. That's when you buy objects that say, I'm better than you, without having to say it out loud. It's efficient snobbery. And don't even get me started on our love for competition. We turned everything into a contest. Jobs, houses, relationships, even relaxation. People compete over who's more stressed. You think you're tired? I haven't slept in 3 days. Oh yeah, I haven't slept since college. We brag about exhaustion like it's a trophy. We work ourselves to death and complain that life is too short. That's like burning the candle at both ends and then blaming the candle. We created systems that reward greed and then pretend to be shocked when people act greedy. Why are corporations so selfish? Because we built them that way. They exist to make money, not friends. You wouldn't blame a shark for swimming, but humans, we invent the shark, feed it, and then wonder why it bites. We believe in justice, but only when it's convenient. We say no one is above the law, but that depends on who you are and how much you've got in the bank. We say innocent until proven guilty, but we also love gossip. We'll ruin someone's life based on rumors and call it a public opinion. We love fairness, as long as it works in our favor. We teach moral lessons we don't follow. Don't lie, says the politician. Don't cheat, says the businessman. Don't steal, says the tax collector. It's like a choir of contradictions. Everyone's singing a song they don't believe in. We built a world that rewards deception and then acts confused when honesty disappears. We praise intelligence but worship stupidity. We put scientists in labs and celebrities on pedestals. We ignore people who actually know things and pay fortunes to people who can't even spell a knowledge. We say education is important and then cut its funding. We say a reading is fundamental, but we watch television shows about people trying to marry strangers for money. We've confused entertainment with enlightenment. We talk about progress as if it's some unstoppable force, but most of it's just marketing. Now with extra features, improved formula. A new and better taste. You ever notice how everything's a new and improved, but somehow you're still unsatisfied? Maybe the problem isn't the product. Maybe it's the programming. And through it all, we keep pretending that we're the smartest beings in the universe. We can't even recycle properly, but sure, let's go colonize Mars. Because if there's one thing we do well, it's spreading our bad habits. We destroy one planet and immediately start looking for another. It's like breaking a plate and saying, don't worry, I'll buy a new kitchen. We say we're a modern, but most of what we do is just ancient nonsense with better lighting. We still worship idols, they're just digital now. We still chase power. It just comes with Wi-Fi. We still tell stories to keep people in line. We just call them press releases. We still need something to believe in, even if it's ridiculous, because the truth scares us. And that's the real contradiction. We think we want the truth, but deep down we don't. The truth is uncomfortable, unpredictable, and usually bad for business. We want comfort, something soft and reassuring to help us sleep at night. So we build illusions, wrap them in slogans, and call it civilization. We've turned contradiction into culture. We say one thing, do another, and then make a commercial about how proud we are of it. We put inspirational quotes on coffee mugs so we can feel deep before 9 a.m. alive. Love. Love. Meanwhile, we're running late, underpaid, and low on patience. That's humanity in a nutshell. Poetic lies printed on cheap merchandise. We've become so good at lying to ourselves that truth feels like a personal attack. When you tell people that their entire way of living makes no sense, they don't say, "You're right." They say you're negative. People would rather feel good than be right. That's why the system works. It's built on comfort, not truth. And the irony is we're aware of all this. Deep down, we know it's ridiculous. We laugh about it, we write about it, we make jokes about it. Because if we didn't, we'd have to admit how insane it really is. Comedy is the pressure valve on the boiling pot of human contradiction. We laugh so we don't scream. But maybe that's the whole point. Maybe the contradictions are what make us human. The madness, the hypocrisy, the nonsense. Maybe we need the chaos to remind us that somewhere under all the noise, there's still a chance to wake up and see the joke for what it is. Because once you see the joke, you can stop being the punchline. You ever notice how laughter is the only honest sound left on this planet? It's true. Everything else has an agenda. News, advertising, politics, religion, all of it trying to sell you something. But laughter, that's pure. You can't fake a real laugh. You can fake a smile, you can fake respect, you can even fake love. But when something makes you laugh, that's the truth sneaking out the back door of your brain before you can stop it. That's why people don't like comedians who tell the truth. Because deep down, they know it's not really a joke. It's just reality wearing a funny hat. You laugh because it's too true not to. It's like your brain saying, "Yeah, I've been thinking that for years, but I didn't want to admit it out loud." See, laughter isn't just funny. It's revolutionary. It's the only moment where you're completely free. When you laugh, you forget the nonsense, the bills, the rules, the system, the fake politeness, all of it. For a second, you're just human again. No titles, no ranks, no roles. Just one creature on a planet laughing at the absurdity of the whole setup. And the setup is pretty absurd. We've created a world that runs on seriousness. We take everything so seriously. Politics, money, status, the color of our lawns. We've forgotten how to enjoy the simple act of being alive. We've got people arguing over who's right and who's wrong, who's smarter, who's richer, who's more important. But nobody seems to remember how to have a good laugh about the fact that we're all on the same floating rock spinning through space, pretending we know what's going on. Laughter cuts through all that. It reminds you that maybe none of this is supposed to make sense. Maybe it's okay that we don't have all the answers. Maybe it's okay that the species calling itself intelligent still believes a metal coin with a dead guy's face on it is more important than air or water. When you laugh at that, you're not just finding it funny. You're freeing yourself from the illusion. You ever notice how people get nervous when someone jokes about something real? Oh, they love jokes about everyday stuff. Traffic, relationships, the weather. But start making jokes about money, power, greed, or control, and suddenly everyone shifts in their seats. Hey, that's not funny. Yeah, it's not supposed to be safe funny. It's supposed to be true funny. There's a difference. The truth makes people uncomfortable because it messes with their favorite illusion, the one where they think they're in control. Nobody wants to believe they're part of a system designed to keep them distracted and busy while a small group of people make all the rules. So, when you point that out with a joke, they laugh. But it's nervous laughter. The kind that says, "Ha ha ha, please don't make me think about that." But that's the beauty of laughter. It sneaks the truth past your defenses. You'll reject logic, ignore facts, argue with evidence. But you'll laugh at the truth. And once you laugh, you can't unsee it. It's like pulling back the curtain and seeing the little guy running the machine. After that, the magic trick doesn't work anymore. That's why comedy is dangerous. Not because it offends people, but because it exposes the game. It reminds you that the emperor's naked, the rules are made up, and most of the stuff you stress about doesn't actually matter. It puts you in on the joke, puts you in on the joke. That Once you realize you're in on the joke, you stop being a pawn on the board. We've built an entire civilization based on seriousness. Every institution wants you to take it seriously. Governments, religions, corporations, schools. Respect the process. Follow the rules. Obey the system. But laughter says, hey, maybe the process is stupid. And that's not something the system likes to hear. Laughter is the one thing you can't regulate. You can tax it, censor it, criticize it, but you can't stop it. It's spontaneous rebellion. We live in a world where people argue about everything. Everything? Food, clothes, sports, opinions, TV shows, doesn't matter. We've turned disagreement into a national pastime. But the moment people laugh together, that all disappears. Laughter doesn't care what side you're on. It doesn't care what color, what class, what job, or what belief you have. When you laugh, you're not part of a group anymore. You're part of a species.